side.
Sir Mike Penning will be the last backbench contribution before the wind-ups. Sir Mike Penning.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. And it's been an honour and a privilege to sit here through this debate today. I'll be speaking as usual with no notes because actually lots of what's been said today I would have said myself. I pay tribute to the chair of the All-Parliamentary Group, which we've done much work together over the years. Tribute to Marie Lyons and Mike and all of the other campaigners. But there is something about this debate, every time we have it, that there is unity, conformity, passion, love in this chamber. And as my right honourable friend said, that disappears into government somewhere and doesn't come back out. Because governments, I've known about this for years, governments of all descriptions could have done something about this. And actually, for some unknown reason, and I was a minister in government, minister with the right honourable lady in front of me from Maidenhead in the Home Office, when we did other inquiries together, we had to battle to get them. I don't understand sometimes when government of all descriptions don't come and do a statement and we have to UQ them. Because actually it's plainly obvious you're going to get a statement. We got 3 statements today, quite rightly, but they'd have been UQ'd if they hadn't have come. So perhaps some common sense is prevailing. But when it comes to really, really serious issues like Primodos, for some unknown reason, the governments and the department and the Treasury, it's not one department, and I fear for the Minister when she stands at a dispatch box because this is way outside of just the Department of Health's remit. They draw the shutters down. We heard earlier on where government lawyers are threatening activists that are trying to get justice for their families and their loved ones and others, because many of these people that campaign have lost their loved ones. And as I said earlier on, Mr Deputy Speaker, some of them were victims themselves when they were told to have an abortion, had a miscarriage, stillbirth. Now, if we go back in time, things have changed a lot in society, but in the 1960s and 70s, if you went to your GP because you thought you were pregnant, especially if you might have been a single mum, that was a really, really difficult thing to do. And then to be told a short time later that perhaps the best thing for you to do was have an abortion, perhaps not as a single mum, doesn't matter, you're still going to be mum, but something you were passionately waiting for in your life to make your life fulfilled as a couple or as a single mum, and then being told the best thing you can do is we'll abort the child because there's going to be real terrible deformities. Or when you go through childbirth. I'm lucky enough to just become a grandfather. I remember being there 33 years ago when my wife punched me on the nose halfway through childbirth. She didn't intend to do it, she had no idea what was happening. You know, she was just in a lot of pain and it made her feel better, I'm sure. But to be there and then all of a sudden realising that the disfigurements and the abnormalities were there to be seen, or as we've heard today in this debate, not seen until a little way later. There will be a debate later on, Mr Deputy Speaker, which I'll be leading on, when babies are born exactly like that, and then we're told, oh, they've got bunions. No, they haven't got bunions, they've got a deformity, a genetic deformity, but because it's so rare, no one understands it. This, the government, the NHS, the GPs, the drug company knew what they were doing. If the drug company had withdrawn it after a year, when they first started to see this, I think most of us would understand that, you know, we have these sorts of situations, and they would have been able to, and they should have compensated, quite right. But that's not what happened. They went on for year after year after year, knowing that this drug, which was, it's not semantics in that it was prescribed, it wasn't prescribed. A prescription is a prescription. Opening the drawer and giving a couple of tablets to the lady in front of you is not a prescription. It's a handout with no information as to the dangers that we all see today. You only have to go and buy a packet of paracetamol and you'll see it written all across the back of it what could happen. These ladies weren't given that opportunity. They were given because they needed to know whether or not they were pregnant, for whatever situation they were personally in. And then the GP opened the drawer. In an NHS surgery, a GP, self-employed, as GPs mostly are, but paid for by the NHS, and those drugs have been given directly, not through a pharmacist, directly from the drug company to the GP to hand out. There is one area, before I conclude, Mr. Speaker, which we haven't really concluded, and this is something I think really governments really need to understand. And I was a shadow health minister for four years, and it was something I was quite passionate about. The damage to our NHS of public understanding around this is so bad. The public need to trust the NHS. They need to be able to trust when they go to their GP. They need to trust that if something needs to be done, it will be done for them, not for the system. And what's happening here is the NHS, our NHS, is being damaged by the way that this cover-up continues to go on. Government lawyers, Baroness Cummings' report, the bits of it they've accepted, but actually the fundamentals of the Baroness report, which my right honourable friend made sure happened, has been completely ignored. And we can run around the head of a pin and say, oh, it's because there was legal action here and legal action. Actually, just do what's right. We've made a mistake in the department or the drug company. We're going to put it right, and we're going to put it right today for those families that are still here and for those families that we've lost. That is the decent thing that this House should do.
Wind-ups, Hannah Badal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. It is a massive privilege